Hey, would you like to learn the void of course technique we talk about on the podcast often? Well, it's in Chapter 4 of the Book of the Moon. The audiobook is available now on Audible and on Apple Books. And this episode of the Fun Astrology Podcast is brought to you by the Book of the Moon audiobook. So pick yours up today and learn that technique and use it for yourself. Welcome in to the Thursday edition of the Fun Astrology Podcast for May the 9th. Thomas Miller, thank you so much for joining us. We're under a Gemini moon, and we are going to play our last little excerpt from Steve Forrest here from my interview with him that was released Tuesday night under the new moon. Tomorrow, we'll set up the weekend, which isn't much, and we'll take a look at next week just briefly. Before we go to Steve, if you participated last week or this week in our group readings with Robert Glasscock, and if you have not seen the bonus email that I sent to you yesterday, please check your spam or junk folder because a lot of these have been ending up in there. But there's a link in there for you to view tonight's final reading. If you haven't participated yet and you would like to view, now not ask questions, just view on YouTube tonight, you can still catch that at the top of funastrology.com. Now, with the bundle tight, no aspects in the sky, what a great time to hear the comforting and wise words from Stephen Forrest. And you know what's cool? Yeah. Except for a few nights, we get to look at it every night in the sky.
Everybody's fascinated by it. Just visually, just to look at it. You can take somebody who has no faith at all in astrology. It never crossed their mind that it might be real. There are plenty of good people, of course, who've just been conditioned not to believe in it or not even to think about it. And yet all of them, who isn't moved by a moonlit night? You know, it's just as simple as that. That's the primal perception of upon which astrology rests. At least we could make a case for that. I just imagine we're out in the countryside somewhere on the night of the full moon, just gazing out across a moonlit landscape. It looks like a dream. It looks like another world, like it's a doorway into a transcendent perspective. You know, we begin to, in a sense, see through this world, to recognize there's something more beyond this world. And of course, talking like that in some circles, I would sound like a madman. I would sound crazy talking like that. But it's the way the mystics have been talking since the beginning of time, that this world is an illusion, or the three-dimensional world is embedded in a more multi-dimensional universe. There are lots of ways to say it, but it is the ancient truth. And intellectually, it's almost impossible for humans to wrap their heads around that. But our heart gets it, which is to say, the moon gets it. The moon is the part of us that perceives everything, that slips through the nets of rational or quantitative analysis. The moon is what tunes into the idea that life is meaningful. We can't prove that life is meaningful. The moon just knows. When we think about what gives meaning to life, almost anyone, if we ask them that question, reflexively, they'll say love. They'll say love is what gives meaning to life. Well, other things can too, but love is certainly part of it. And you know, in explaining the moon, I often like to imagine a person is like in a dentist office reading an article in a magazine that carefully explains to you why, even though you believe your cat loves you, in fact, your cat does not love you. Your cat is a little carnivore that would kill you and eat you if it possibly could. And a moon person reading that will recognize that there may be facts in the article, but it's not true. It's like, I know my cat loves me. I just know it. Well, how do you know that? Oh, I just know. And, you know, scientifically, I just know isn't good enough. You know, it's not a good answer. But from the moon's point of view, yes, it's a fine answer. There are things that we do just know because we have this perceptual faculty called the moon that tunes into everything, that slips through the nets of rational or quantitative analysis. I go right back to that. It's impossible to be happy without the moon. We need the moon. It's impossible to have a sense of meaning in life without the moon. That's how central it is.
And you can pick up the Book of the Moon on Audible or Apple Books, and you don't need a subscription to get it on Audible. No, you can buy it as a one-off from Amazon. That's the best way to do it. All right, you guys, have a great rest of the day. We'll be back to set up the weekend tomorrow and to take a peek around the corner to next week. Have a great day. Love you so much. Bye-bye.